My name is Bennett. I'm in the IRIS network, contributions and development part of the agency. I've been employed here since 2005. Prior to that, I was working elsewhere in the department, actually down in reception. And my purpose today is to demonstrate some of the adaptive equipment I use in order to perform this job without sight. When I first got the job, I had sight for a short period of time and then lost it. And then was faced with the dilemma of how to do certain tasks within the job that were required. Some of those involved how to fold a letter in a way that it would come out even on each side and fit into an envelope. How to place labels on envelopes so that they were centered correctly on various sizes of documents. I tried for a short time, a few days, to figure out how to do this without any adaptive equipment by using my fingers, and it just wasn't reliable. You hear your hands move and you're not always in the same position, and it was necessary to get the label not only parallel with the base but also the proper distance from the base, from the bottom of the envelope. What I came up with was the idea of something on the idea of a carpenter's square with an offset on the left-hand side like this, so it's wide on one side and narrow on the bottom. The first piece of material I used was wood, and that didn't work very well because it was too thick and I couldn't tell exactly where the thing was. So we ultimately came up with the idea of plexiglass, and this seems to work quite well. I simply slide the letter into the lower corner of this device, which is known as a jig, and put the plate over the top of it, and I can place a label properly each time without having to remember a certain distance of my fingers or anything else. It falls correctly where it's supposed to. Okay, I'm going to start by demonstrating how I put a label on a calendar envelope, the large calendar envelope. You'll see at this point that I don't have the other smaller trays on my desk. I actually have a picture frame, which was another idea I had to come up with because there was the problem of how to hold the calendar in place steadily while I put the label on. I could have put straps on the desk and held them down with clamps, but that would have been very awkward and I'd have difficulty in place. So I came up with the idea of a picture frame large enough to hold the large calendars the large envelopes that we used to mail the calendars. So what I'm going to do, I've already prepared a letter addressed to myself here at the agency with the agency address to protect confidentiality of any clients. I'm going to scan this letter using the small desktop scanner, and the computer will I will be able to pick up the address and copy and paste that address and prepare a label to be placed on this calendar. So let's see if we can scan that letter.
Alt-F menu, file menu, scan using OK, leave it menus, Open Book 7.0.
The Open Book program is actually scanning the letter now, and this is a specialized program that will read print. A regular scan would only read, consider it a picture.
Support, empowerment, independence, a statewide focus on 189-207, January 13, MRLA, Bennett.
Okay, I'm now at my address. All I have to do is make sure that I'm at the very beginning of it. I can select it.
Selected, MRLA, Bennett. Selected, 189 Park Avenue. Selected, Portland, Maine 04102. Alt-Tab, Open Book dash Alt-Tab, left parent untitled, pasted from clipboard. Alt-P.
And just like that, I have an address to myself prepared for this calendar. And before I go any further, I will delete this address so that I won't wind up putting one address on top of another when I do the next one. So let's...
MRLA, Bennett,
that's gone. I go back to my original document.
Microsoft Word, document 1, selected.
Select all of that and delete it. Now, if I take these labels off this little printer in this fashion, pulling them from left to right, turn them to my left, they are in the proper position to go directly onto the calendar. I've already prepared two other labels on here. One is to a return address and the other is free matter for the blind, but I know because the order in which they've done, so this actually is the address label to myself, which I'll put in fairly close to the center of the envelope, like so. There it is. Then I simply swap these devices, grabbing this one, push the envelope to the top. The reason for going to the top is, for some reason, it provides a more accurate placement with my fingers having it at the top than it does at the bottom. So we peel off. The first one should be the return address, right here. And I simply feel the corners of the device here, and there it is. Turn this over to the other side and go up to the corner. Again, sliding the envelope to the corner of the trusty picture frame we have here. And the next label is the free matter for the blind, and that goes right up here in the corner. And we have, we're using those two devices, a complete envelope with the name and the address in the middle, the return address at the top, free matter for the blind to the right. I have copied two additional labels. We simply take the letter, slide it under the device in the lower corner of the jig, peel off an address label, and it will go in the lower left-hand corner, like this. And that should come out fairly close to center. And for a newsletter, we simply use the other size, this size. And again, I know that this is the correct side to put it on because this is a side with the loose pages. The other side is folded over. We put this in the lower corner, like so, and peel off this label, and it goes, whoops, right there, and we have fairly close to center label on this. Okay, the only other piece that I'd like to explain is that when I first started the job, these jigs slid all over the table, and I come up with the idea of putting something adhesive on the bottom to adhere to the table. These are called grippers, that you can buy them in a local discount store. And I just put one on each corner of the jig, and it prevents it from sliding all over the place. This is the top because of the way it was placed in the scanner. It fits on there. This always often reminds me of a checkerboard. So the letter is squarely on the document. I double check with both fingers to make sure it's flat at the top. Fold the bottom up, crease it. The bar hole gives me the shape. Fold it back down again, crease the bottom, and because there's a little bit of slack in that plate, I simply double crease it, and we have a letter folded that will fit into the envelope. To wrap this up, I would just say that through the use of the JAWS program on the computer, the open book program that reads the scanned material, the scanner, a simple label maker, and some adaptive devices to place labels properly, it is possible to carry out most of the tasks necessary to complete this job. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.